Welcome everyone to another live edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell and of course DK in the background. We are super excited as we continue to march. We're 2 days away from the first round of the NFL draft and our exclusive, fantastic, exciting. A collab that it's been in the making for quite some time and I think this is going to break some records in Baltimore. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you are available, let me start the show. If you don't have a good reason to not be at Union Hill Kitchen and Craft Bar this Thursday at 8:00 for the draft, I need a good reason. Not a reason. I need a good reason as to why you can't make it. For me, Jimbo, DK, and Ing Raven, all going to be Union Hill. Make sure you're there live on YouTube. Of course, if you can't make it, you guys can catch us here on the channel as well. But man, if you're in the area, even if you can only pop in for a couple picks just to say hi, of course, we'd love it if you could stay the whole time. Look at the art. Is that photoshopped? Holy jeez. DK, how do I get arms like that? Honestly, what do I got to do? I need them. Holy smokes. Zay Flowers flexing on him. But Jimbo, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good, man. On my way home from New York, and looking forward to Thursday night. That is for sure, Glenn. I cannot wait. I also, as far as updates go for you guys, there's going to be an event-specific dedicated drink. They're going to be making a drink for the evening. They're also going to be there's Union Brewery, which is a local brewery here in Baltimore, is going to be sponsoring. So that I think also that'll be really cool as well. They'll have some drinks there as well. So, and they got a great menu for the show as well, for the event as well. So like Glenn said, I think it's one of these shows for the ages as far as Baltimore Ravens podcasts go. Come and hang out with us. We're looking forward to it. But I'm doing good. On my way home, excited to see my family and kids, and same thing, my wife and kids. But I'm excited to get into what we got going on tonight. I think the way that we'll do the show tonight, for all of you that are wondering, is we got some news and notes. We're going to talk about the Ravens as far as transactional things and otherwise that aren't, immediately related to the draft, press conference stuff and things like that, because we had people back in the building. But then we're also going to talk about where the Ravens are picking and where we believe the Ravens what positions the Ravens need to focus on. And kind of match them up potentially, right, with where we think they could go. And then we're going to do a few scenarios in the mock draft simulator so we can see the potential players that we believe will be available to the Ravens and kind of mess with the different scenarios to provide us with a different group of players each time. So I think it's going to be an exciting action-packed show, and I'm looking forward to it. So what do we got for news and notes, Glenn? I think we got some big stuff going on that maybe is not getting the pub it should.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. We do got some news. Quickly, Jonesy brings up a good point. Appreciate the question in chat. It's a free party, ladies and gentlemen. No tickets required, no payment at the door. You come in, you hang out, we watch the draft together. It's that simple. Nothing is due. There's no tickets. It's completely free, ladies and gentlemen. Just come in, get a drink, get something to eat, hang out. What's going on, Nuno? Appreciate you joining us. And Dome Life, Baltimore, Georgia, all the way from Southeast Georgia. Appreciate you joining us as well. But yeah, no tickets, guys. Just come on through. Don't have to pay a dime to get in. But yeah, I did want to mention a couple things. You guys might notice I'll be looking to my right a little more often. I do have an additional screen, so I might be looking at it a couple times, okay? But I'm with you. I'm locked, okay? First thing I want to bring up, Darius Washington was the only, I believe, really priority restricted free agent this offseason. And, of course, he had until April 18th was the deadline for him to sign an offer sheet by another team, which, of course, because of him being restricted, the Ravens would have had the opportunity to match that offer. However, no team offered, whether that's because they didn't think that we would allow him to leave or not. Good news for the Ravens, they didn't offer. So Darius Washington is staying here in Baltimore for at least one more season. As you can see here, he signed a 1-year, $3.2 million tender offer. So he's in Baltimore. And man, Jimbo, I know a lot of people might say, that's okay. That's a big freaking deal for me because that's another piece added to this team to where the Ravens don't have to go into this draft with a glaring and obvious weakness where they're pigeonholed into having to pick a specific guy or at least a specific position in the first round because you need a guy who can play day one. Ravens don't have to do that now with Ardarius back in Baltimore.
Yeah, and to your point, Glenn, for anybody that's out there and thinks this is a small deal, this is, small potatoes, just go back and watch the tape. Go back and watch the tape. I would encourage you to do so because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, we were dead last by a couple miles as far as passing defense goes. And then quickly the Ravens started to improve and get so much closer because of one move. We put Ardarius Washington on the field, right? Like step number one, Ardarius is generally, I think this is safe to say, he's in the right place at the right time. That's step number one, right? Like he wasn't making the coverage blowing mistakes and otherwise. But on top of that, let's be honest, Ardarius Washington is a bona fide NFL playmaker. I think it's fair to say he's made some big plays, some big tackles for a guy that, uses every ounce of his body that he's got. He's a smart and savvy football player, and he's got good ball skills. I'm happy that Ardarius Washington is back, Glenn. I'm also going to predict that Ardarius Washington at some point, potentially halfway through the season, will sign a 3-year extension with the Baltimore Ravens.
Whoa, I love it. So the good thing is, I don't know if this is simply just him being a restricted free agent and other teams being aware that the Ravens would likely match whatever offer, or maybe we can go ahead and read into it and go, well, maybe him being undervalued by other teams might lead to a decent contract value for the Ravens, and maybe that 3-year deal, maybe like typically in Baltimore, we're looking to be the next guy. Like when Lamar signed, he was the next guy in line to be the highest paid quarterback. Linderbaum looks to be the next guy in line at center. Safety is going to be Kyle Hamilton. Well, I don't know if Ardarius is necessarily going to be next in line type player, but to your point, this is a hell of a football player. This is a turnover waiting to happen. I don't know if anybody's forgotten the hit he had on Russell Wilson that caused the big turnover after a scramble that found him inside the Ravens' 10-yard line. Interceptions. I mean, not to mention, Kyle Hamilton, number 2 safety in the league, but not to be completely outdone, Ardarius Washington was the 8th-rated safety in all of football last year. You got 2 top 8 safeties. Now it's at the same team on the same team. That's pretty damn special. And who knows? The Ravens might just add a 3rd safety to this already impressive duo here. But
and Glenn, to your point, or you remember when Brody signed that deal? I mean, how valuable is that contract? You want to talk about return on investment? Broderick Washington, he's obviously not Nnamdi Madubuike, but certainly he is a contributing member of this defense and this defensive line. So I see a contract like that, something in that vein.
Maybe Rashad Bateman?
Yeah, something like that, where it's just this tremendous value return for the Ravens and a win-win for him. I'm excited about this. And man, I tell you what, Glenn, a call for the ages when the guy we had on from TCU said that Ardarius Washington would have a better career than Morig.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Crazy, right? Like, it's just, how many people would have said that? I mean, I think he's the only one that said it.
Yeah, and talking to a former safety who played at TCU, I think he might have some insight, and it looks like he was right about that. What's going on, Jimmy Kidwell? But yeah, somebody else, Nuno also points out that hit on the tight end for, I think it was Freiermuth, stopped him
line
dead in his tracks. That's a 6'6" tight end that little Ardarius stopped stone cold. That forced a turnover on downs, I believe that was. Either way, it was a hell of a play. But yeah, I mean, everybody else on the list, man, is 6 foot, 6'1". You got Kyle Hamilton, 6'4", a little 5'8" Ardarius in there. Just a little 5'8" Ardarius in there, my man. You gotta love to see it.
It's the beauties of fundamentals, right? Like, it's just fundamental football. I mean, it's much more than that. But my point is, like, his tackling is sound. It's fundamental football.
So right, man. Like, he just. Oh, and also, you can't teach a knack for the ball. Like, some people just have a knack to be around the ball. He's one of those people. And so his size limitations, they get outweighed by all the other, the instincts and the ball skills and all that stuff. Also wanted to, after we transition from that, talk about Mark Andrews. We heard from him after the drop that ended the Ravens season on the 2-point conversion against the Buffalo Bills. And just before that, he had the tough fumble as he tried to tried to extend the play and get more yards down the field. He gets the ball poked out, and we hadn't really heard much from Mark Andrews. In fact, most of what we heard was fans saying, I want Mark Andrews out of here. They said, I want this position is to be handed over to Isaiah Likely. He's our next in line. We still have some talent behind him. But most fans were not – they didn't want to see another scenario where the ball is thrown towards Mark Andrews with the season on the line. I want to I'm sticking with Mark. I think Mark – I don't want his last play to be a disappointment, but we did hear from him. So I quickly want to get your take on some of his comments, Jimbo, because he had some comments as to what may have led, at least had played a role into what may have led to the drop pass on the 2-point conversion. And I'm throwing it up right now. He says, Jimbo, he says his gloves were soaked. He said his gloves were completely wet. And if anybody's ever played with a wet pair of gloves, it does kind of counter what the stickiness goes away when there's moisture on them. And it kind of makes it to where it's not as easy. It's not as effective as it once was. So he was kind of stuck in this weird territory where, do I take the gloves off? Do I not? Everything happened so fast. He's saying it was the gloves, Jimbo. What do you think?
That's a tough one for me. I don't know if I would have I don't know if it's everybody's different. I don't know if my go-to would be standing up there and blaming it on the gloves. And I'm kind of surprised that seemed, that's what Mark did, because I don't strike him as that kind of guy. I would just say, look, it's my job to catch the football. It's easy for me to say this, right? It's my job to catch the football. I didn't catch the football. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He did say at the end of the day, I still should have caught it. He did finish the sentence with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing that it's kind of out of character for me. It seems a little weird. And then he got a lot of pressure and a lot of heat, and so maybe he feels like, hey guys, like this was not 70 degrees and balmy weather here. Like, once again, my gloves were soaked and this was difficult to do. But I don't know. I'm with you though, Glenn. I've come full circle with this. I want Mark here. I want an extension for Mark Andrews. I want it to work out. I don't want this. We're not talking about Lee Evans. We're not talking about a fringe player that made a mistake. We're talking about the Ravens franchise leader and caught touchdowns. I mean, we're talking about Lamar Jackson's security blanket. I think that Mark can only learn from this, right? Like maybe try and body catch it when it's raining, use the forearms a little more, basket catch it. I don't know, right? Like I'm not the professional. And maybe next time you get the ball and you have open space, run towards the goal line. Don't break towards the defender. But those are only things that he can learn. I mean, at this point, that's all he can do. So I'm still riding with Mark. Now, to that point, though, Glenn, there's still speculation, or at least fodder around the idea that he gets traded on draft night. How are you feeling about that possibility? And I guess maybe not draft night being the first round, but somewhere in the draft. How are you feeling about that? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of me is still saying it's unlikely, because why wait until that roster bonus kicks in and you have to pay him, I believe it was $4 million to make the move. Now, it could have been that teams were using that kind of deadline as a way to influence the trade and say, well, you need us more than we need you. You don't want to pay him that $4 million. I'm going to lowball you on an offer. And so maybe the Ravens were kind of forced to ultimately pay him that, even if their plan is to still move him and get him out of Baltimore before the season starts. But I still think if you're going to move Mark Andrews, you better damn sure have a plan of how you're going to replace him. Because I don't feel comfortable going in and just going, all right, it's Isaiah Likely's job. And yeah, we have Kohler back there who's a pretty good blocker at this point in his career and can catch it if it's thrown to him. But I'm not about the business of taking weapons away from Lamar Jackson. And I think Mark Andrews is still very much so a weapon. And I want to see him write the final chapter a little bit different in Baltimore. So I'm hopeful he sticks around, but I don't think it's crazy that on draft night, a team comes with a third round offer, maybe on the second or third day, maybe on that Saturday when the third round is second and third round on a Friday. So I wouldn't be shocked at all. But what I would be surprised if he's moved for anything less than a third rounder. If they settle and move him on a fifth round pick, I'm going to be hot, Jimbo. It better be a third or better, or I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, it's funny because I was coming in at fourth. I was like, all right, like a high fourth, like, maybe I'm all right with that. But it is interesting. We've talked about, to your point, I haven't really been on the bandwagon, or at least I haven't thought that it's very likely that he gets traded. But it is interesting because we spent a lot of time talking about his contract. And to your point, Glenn, you kind of started this thought here. Maybe like you said, the Ravens eat the $4 million to make him a more attractive trade piece. Right. And then it is interesting that his contract has not really been, other than the bonus, it hasn't been addressed. So it's this big number. And generally, I think at this point, you extend or you release, unless you have a bird in the hand, right? And you have a trade partner, as long as things work out. So that strikes me as interesting. And I would now that I'm thinking about it, I would encourage people to keep their eye on it, because I do think it's interesting that nothing's been addressed in his contract. Do you think that that's something worth reading into, or just kind of coincidence?
Well, I guess there is the third option, right? That they're going, all right, this is his last hurrah. This is the final ride for Mark Andrews, and this will be this last chapter, however it's written. And then it's likely he will move on if they feel that Isaiah likely shows them enough to where they are ready to turn the keys over to him next season and make him one of the highest paid tight ends in football. Still risky to remove weapons from this team, but I would be much more okay with it if they allow him to play out his final year, and then they ultimately get a draft comp pick if he walks as a free agent. I think that's okay, but don't just trade him for a fifth round pick just to get him out of here and take weapons away from Lamar with no real plan to replace him.
Yeah, and it's funny, the way that I look at this year is that, and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, players that are in contract years usually have big years. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
We now have, if I'm not mistaken, 2 tight ends that are basically in contract years.
All 3, I believe.
Or all 3, contract. But our top 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have Andrews, you have Likely. And so if I'm coach or I'm Eric DeCosta, I'm like, hey, you see this bag of money right here?
Mm-hmm.
You show me which one of you wants it.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't know. Maybe Mark feels like, I don't need to prove myself. But, that could be the way they're looking at it. Instead of saying, hey, this is your last hurrah, just saying, hey, dude, all this money's sitting here for you or Isaiah. We're going to give you equal, opportunity. We want to see who takes the lead here in training camp and as the season progresses. That'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, Mark Andrews on draft night. Remember, Hollywood was traded night 1. Like, it's possible that the Ravens can do a very good job of keeping a trade secret, and then all of a sudden, boom, there goes your number 1 wide receiver to Arizona. We've seen it here in Baltimore before, so don't be shocked if it happens again. All right, so before we move on to some more draft stuff, I did want to talk a couple more news and notes about we saw and talked or heard from a few of the Ravens who were up in Baltimore for the Ravens, I think, first start of their conditioning program. So we did hear from Kyle Hamilton. We heard from Tyler Linderbaum, and we heard from Roquan Smith, 3 leaders of this team, 3 of the very best players. It's nice to see your leaders in the facility participating in the offseason programs, even stuff that's not required or mandated. Pretty cool to see that. We heard a little bit from Tyler Linderbaum. He didn't want to get into the contract stuff, but did say he noticed and saw, of course, Cam Jurgens and his monster deal at center. The expectation is that he will be the next highest paid whenever that time comes. He says he's in no rush, Tyler does, but understands that his agent is hard at work for sure. Is the expectation for you, Jimbo, that the Ravens will not only sign him, but they will make Tyler Linderbaum the highest paid center in football?
Now, once again, is it still Creed Humphrey at this point? Creed Humphreys?
I believe Creed is the number 1. I could look it up, but I believe that is the case. Cam Jurgens is now.
Right. I was wondering if he surpassed Creed. Okay. Because I remember previously there was that monster gap between Creed and the number 2 guy. So that gave me cause to really think about how the Ravens structure this. I think, however it goes down, Linderbaum gets the most guaranteed money. I don't know. He might not get the highest per annum or the total contract value, but you better believe he gets the most guaranteed money. But to your point, it's most likely he just simply becomes the highest paid center and that's the end of the story, right? I mean, what other option do we have?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, though, Jimbo. Without a computer in front of you, we're dead right. Creed Humphrey, 18 a year annually. Second place currently is Dowman at 14 a year annually. So $4 million more per season until the Juergens deal kicks in. But right now, it doesn't have that up on Over the Cap. But yeah, I guess there's a chance that the Ravens could argue that he needs to be paid slightly less than Creed Humphreys, and you could even have any discussion around. And so either he's making 18.5 a year or he's making 17.5 a year. But either way, it's going to be quite a paycheck for him, and deservedly so. He certainly earned it.
Yeah.
But quickly, as somebody brought this up in chat, Jalen Ramsey seems to be on the trade block right now. He's getting older. I believe he's like, 31? He's not a young guy. Jimbo, are you already shaking your head no to Jalen Ramsey? Okay. All right. Tell me why.
You remember in Remember the Titans when Petey is like, zero fun, sir. Right? Like, that's how I am about, like, zero interest, sir. Like, no, thank you. If you remember, dude, our show in its infancy, one of our most viral tweets was Jalen Ramsey trashing Eric Weddle, his own teammate at the time, about some sort of blown coverage in his mind. Right? All I think
that was Taylor Rapp.
Ramsey,
that was Taylor Rapp.
Oh, was it Taylor Rapp? For some reason, I thought it was Weddle. But either way, you know, I think of that when I think of Jalen. I think of the when he like stomps up and down like a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum with, like, I think of that too.
Yes.
I'm just not a Jalen Ramsey guy because, for better or for worse, and maybe you need to be this way at the cornerback position to find success, he's just too much of a me guy for Baltimore. Now, look, if he comes here and he proves that he can fit in with the team, he's obviously an incredible talent. I even think at his age, certainly he's starting on the other side of Nate Wiggins without a doubt. But I just worry about his ability to be a part of a team and not a me guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument would be he's an older guy now. He's not a young kid anymore, and I think he probably realizes his career is at least on the back nine, and maybe he wants that Super Bowl bad enough to where he will kind of fall in line more and not be a disruption.
He's got one with the Rams, right?
Yeah.
He's got but you know what, Glenn? This is my only rebuttal to that point. Even if that is the case, you think he in his heart, and look, I respect this, dude, because I feel the same way. You think he in his heart thinks he's getting old? In his heart? Not a chance.
Gotta know, dude. He's 31?
No way. No, dude. I think it's hard for these guys to come to that realization. You know what I'm saying? Because he's had some injuries, competitors. Though. He has.
His body might be telling him something.
For sure, and that's a good point. But man, it would be hard for me to be like, oh yeah, you can't be good at this anymore just because you're of your age. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. And he's about as fiery competitor as you'll find in the league.
All right, that's no doubt. So for sure, I would just now, to Harv's credit, we've taken guys with equally, if not larger, personalities and had success with them. I mean, obviously we brought in Odell most recently. As far as personalities and personas go, I don't know how much bigger than his it gets. You talk about Steve Smith. I'm probably missing a few guys too. We had Dez Bryant here. We had Le'Veon Bell here. Like, we've had some names, dude. Like, if you think about it, as far as like just big personalities, and coach has just simply managed all of that. So look, as long as he's willing to play ball and be a part of the team, then I'll bring him in with open arms. But right now I'm still on the zero interest sir train here. I'm not overly interested.
My only thing would be like the cost, right? I mean, I'd be okay if they get him at the cost, but because I do think they need corners, and he would be obviously an upgrade from the current group that are slated to fill in at number 2 behind Wiggins and Marlon, who they hope to keep inside. Obviously a massive upgrade from Jalen Armour Davis, from TJ Tampa, like any of those guys. But
who's
the cost
is real.
What's that?
Who's the guy we just brought from Tennessee?
Oh, dang, what he's played for Dallas before that.
Chitto?
Awuzie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Awuzie. There you go.
But even that, I mean, even him, a lot more experience than the young guys we have, but not nearly the level
Right.
of Jalen. But I do want to quickly change topics here because I don't see that as a realistic possibility, but I did
Yeah,
have to
I
bring it
agree.
up and ask your take. Now, lost to your share screen. Okay. I do got to get your take on this, Jimbo. And guys, in a second here, we're going to transition to talk about out of those 11 draft picks, break down exactly how many of each position of need do you want out of those 11 draft picks. And then we're going to jump into a quick mock one draft just to see, maybe in a couple round one mocks just to see where it goes. But what is your take on the news and talk surrounding Jalen Milroe, this year's most athletic quarterback coming out? And look, it happens every year, Jimbo, where we talk about these young guys and we compare them to guys that are currently playing and guys who have played in the past. And we try and say, he's the next this guy. He's the next that guy. And I don't mind it. I've heard people say, oh, Jalen Milroe, he might even be faster in a straight line than Lamar Jackson. You could even make claims like that, which I don't even think Lamar would probably just laugh and walk away if I said that to him. He wouldn't even care.
Right.
But when you get into start talking about he's the best running quarterback I've ever evaluated, and he's Cam Newton's power with Lamar's speed, you start to get a little bit overboard here. Like, can we not do we forget what Lamar did at Louisville? Like, did we forget the years that he had, the rushing totals, the touchdowns, the Heisman? Like, it starts to get a little crazy. And then, look, Jalen's supposed to be a confident guy, but he was a little too cocky and confident when asked, like, are you beating Lamar? Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I get you're supposed to be confident. But I just, again, think Lamar is, again, being like, well, I heard he's the next Mike Vick. The next Mike Vick, I guess, is that an insult to Jalen Milroe? Because, look, he's faster than Lamar Jackson. Jimbo, what do you think about the hype surrounding Jalen Milroe?
Yeah, it's just wild to me. So a few things. I'm saying this in a joking fashion, but to quote the great Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec, freedom of press is for the birds. It's for the birds. Because let me tell you what, some of these media members just need to lose their credentials, right? Like, look, we've heard this ever since Lamar's come into the league. Caleb Williams, sorry, this truck is barreling down on me. Caleb Williams is what do they say? He's Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? He doesn't sniff either of their jock straps. Really? Like, what? So to me, it's bored media members that have done too many mocks, don't have enough headlines, and I think the kid can be a good football player. I just don't think it's fair. The other thing I'll say too, hey, whoop-de-doo-dah-day, if you can beat Lamar Jackson in a headline sprint, which I would be hard pressed to believe, if you can do that, cool. Guess what? Lamar Jackson is going to leave the defender in front of him like a cheap folding chair. Right? Like, Lamar is special because he can move at 90% of his full speed at angles that other humans cannot.
Right.
Right? Like, that's as far as running goes, outside of the fact that he is a top 3 throwing quarterback in the NFL and doesn't even play football in the football field. He's just playing a different sport. So, I mean, yeah, it's just not fair to the kid, but to me, it's all the blame on the media. This is just media members of too many cycles. Yeah, you remember back in the day, have you ever seen the original, like, what are we going to do with the creation of ESPN? What would we do with a television network that shows nothing but sports all day when that was, like, not a thing? People thought it would be, like, boring, right? It's not boring. There are moments, though, when you're doing your 30,000th rendition of the draft that you have to come up with something and pull a bunny out of a hat. And this was his bunny.
Yeah. I look, I know these guys have to do comps. I know they have to do this stuff. I just wish they wouldn't be so, like, overboard with their comparisons. Like, just relax a little bit. I mean, if I could get this damn video to load, I think Shady McCoy put up a tweet that kind of perfectly captures this. Like, Lamar's just different in the way he, like you said, Jimbo, like RG3 in his prime in a straight line might have had a shot against Lamar Jackson in a straight line race.
I think it's
but
right because he's a track runner. He's a track star.
Right. But what this guy does with the ball in his hands to make every player look stupid is the thing that kind of sets him apart. Like, come on. I mean, some of these runs, I'm sorry I tried to blow it up, but it was not cooperating with me. But you get the idea. Come on, look what he just did to that guy. Like, that was insane. So I get the comparisons. I get you kind of have to.
Yeah, let's not forget that the phrase "he is Houdini" exists because of number 8. Like, come on, guys, put some out, man. Jeez.
What'd I do?
I'm here. You're good. You're good. You got it.
I think I accidentally, because my computer's run so slow, put Jimmy in timeout.
No, you didn't. I'm here.
DK, because I don't want to mess it up.
I'm here.
DK, I mean, Jimmy, I didn't mean to put you in timeout, okay?
I'm here.
That was an accident.
I'm here.
Oh, no. And now we're flipping around.
Wait, what's happening? I'm here.
I accidentally put you in timeout.
Oh, it's okay. I think I was here the whole time.
You could always hear me, but you were put in the background. We put you in the background. But it was my fault. It's because my computer's running so slow, so I'm hitting something, and then it's taking a second to register. Seconds. Yeah, I got a lot going on here. But all right, now DK, I think you said you had a graphic up that shows, because I think this is where we're gonna transition to the next. I think I am running too many programs at once. I think you might be onto something here.
Glenn's getting greedy with the extra monitor, DK. He's getting greedy.
You see what I'm doing here? All right, so
go ahead.
So DK put it up here. We have 11 total picks. So of course our standard 1 through 7, but then we have an additional pick via compensatory in the 4th round. Actually, no. So we lost our 5th round pick. So the only 5th round pick we have is a comp pick, but then we have 4 6th round picks. One is from a trade made with Carolina, and then 2 additional comp picks from players leaving last season. And then of course our 7th round pick. So out of those 11 picks, Jimbo, I'm gonna hit you with the questions, and I'm gonna keep all the tallying. Okay, I'll do all the work because I know you're a busy man trying to stay safe. Out of those 11 picks, how many have to be on the offensive line?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you minimums. Minimum, it has to be 2. We can't be one pump chumps like last year. I know it worked out, but we just can't do it. I think wholeheartedly, offensively and defensively, it's our biggest hole, interior offensive line. It's our biggest issue. And I know we got guys there, but it has to be 2 to keep it brief. It has to be at least 2.
Okay, so we're down to 9 remaining. All right, well, how many of those 9 remaining have to be at edge?
I'm going with 2 again.
So 2, even though we bring back our entire outside linebacker and edge group, you say they still need to take at least 2 stabs at the position.
I think so. I don't think Ajabo's on this team.
Okay, I like that. All right, so we just bring back our Darius. I mentioned we have 2 top 8 safeties in the league. How many safeties do the Ravens need?
Safeties or secondary members?
I'm going to break it down to 2 different positions. Okay. Safety first.
Safeties, I don't know if we need any. I think they take 1.
Okay, I'm going to put you down 0 to 1 on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, right to corner. How many corners do they have to come out of this draft with?
This is tough for me. Dude. What are we at right now? We're at 5, right?
We're at 4 to 5.
Okay. Based on the number of corners you need to carry on your team, gosh, this is really freaking hard. 1 to 2. Just put me down for 2. Just book it 2.
Okay, I like it. All right, how about interior defensive line?
I wish I could say 2, but I'm running out of numbers. So I'm gonna go 1 for now and put an asterisk next to it, an asterisk, whatever it's called.
Okay, because you'd like to do 2. How about, do they have to go wide receiver at any point? Do they have to?
I don't think they have to. I honestly think one of the advantages of this team is we don't have to address the pass catchers.
Okay.
I think that low-key we might have to go running back.
Ooh, I just don't know where one gets in because, like,
I
if
know
we're
we got guys back there, but I don't know.
well, hold on. Let me. DK brings up a good one. Let me
Yeah.
ask you about inside linebacker. Now, I will say this. Let me quickly mention Roquan Smith was asked about, and he said that he trained in the offseason with Trenton Simpson to
Yep.
continue working on their bond, as he called it, to continue working on their play chemistry together. But the question remains, Jimbo, how many inside linebackers do the Ravens need to take this draft?
What am I at right now?
You're at 2, 4, possibly 5, 6 or 7, 8 or 9. You might be as high as 9 or as low as 7.
Okay. So theoretically, if all my others are at the high end, I got 2 picks left theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Well, then I'm going with these last 2 picks. I like the inside linebacker because I think we can find a day 1 starter in rounds 3 to 5 to play next to Roquan, who can be a tackling machine. I'm not asking him to be Roquan, but I think he can be a plug and play guy. Maybe a bit more of a true I feel like Trent was kind of a hybrid in college. He played on in a number of different situations, but maybe a true, I don't know the right way to say this, but a true middle linebacker, like a traditional. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Like a run stuffing downs 1 and 2 guy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Okay.
something to that effect. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
a guy that just played more of that position in college at the traditional spot.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna say 1 though, right?
Yeah, 1, and I think my last pick, man. It's funny because I've talked about tight end. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I don't know where running back fits in. I'm sure I have some glaring needs here, but I'm going with tight end. Like you said, we're all in contract year. They're all in a contract year. I think we need at least 1. We need 1 tight end to fill the coffers. So that's how I'm rounding it out. And I like, bump my other numbers up, right? So if my math is right, I got 2 D linemen, 2 offensive. I guess you can go through it, but
yeah, you got
anyway.
2 interior offensive linemen, 2 edge. We got 1 safety. We got 1 to 2 corners. I think you can bump that to 2 corners. 1 to 2 D linemen. You can maybe bump that to 2 D linemen. So we'll go on the high end. So we're at 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 if we do a safety, and then 10 if we do a linebacker, and 11 is your tight end. What if I challenge you? No tight end, because I do think we have 3 tight ends plus Pat. I don't know how a 5th guy would make the roster. Okay. Where's our kicker at, Jimbo?
Yeah, well, look, the Ravens have already done it before, right? If you're talking about now, this is just draft picks. I'm not counting.
Yeah.
Guys that get signed as far as unrestricted free agents, rookies. So that's where I think it ends up coming from.
I'm thinking with 11 picks, man, you can spend 1 on a kicker. If we had 7,
that's fair.
I go, okay. But if you got 11 damn picks and you're telling me you're making all 11, one of them better be a kicker, because 11 guys ain't making this team. There's just no way all 11 are, especially if one of them's not a kicker.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%, right? Like if you, yeah. So what's your take? What would you change in my numbers?
Yeah, I would take tight end and running back off, even though I get what your point is. I mean, both these position groups are loaded, but they're loaded with guys on expiring contracts. So I do think the plan, you have to think of the future. But I also think, how the hell is any of those guys going to make – I just don't see an avenue where any of those guys make anything higher than the practice squad. So I think free agent acquisitions will be made at tight end and running back. But I agree, interior offensive line has to be a minimum of 2. Edge has to be a minimum of 2 because, like you said, Ajabo to me has no guaranteed roster spot. I'm perfectly fine with moving on from him. And then on the inside, I'd say 1 to 2 is good on the D-line because you need to replace Michael Pierce and Brent Urban. So I think 2 is okay there. I want a safety, but only if one presents itself in the early rounds. I'm not particular about them adding a 5th round guy because we have Sanusi Kane and we have Bo Braid. So unless he's a 1st round guy or potentially 2nd round, like a Makuba out of Texas, I'm not interested in safety. So I think 0-1 is a good call there. Cornerbacks, you got to get at least one. Got to get one, and I'd be okay. I'd be perfectly fine you going 2 there. Matter of fact, let's get 2 there because I'm okay with Jalen Armour-Davis not playing for me. I don't need him to ever play for me again. I'm tired of counting on him when he's always hurt, and when he is out there, he looks lost. Wide receiver, I'm okay with taking none, but if a big, tall, fast guy that you think you can turn into something presents himself late, I'm okay with us looking at that 6th spot, but I'm okay with 0 there as well. Inside linebacker, I'd love you to take 1. You lost Board, you lost Harrison. Got to at least replace them, or maybe both of those guys, but certainly got to replace one in the draft. And then I love them taking the best kicker at that 7th round pick. Let's not mess around with having to argue with other teams, maybe get outbid by a team. Hell no. Let's take them in the 7th round and guarantee no bidding wars.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. So we're pretty similar here.
Yep, we're pretty similar. Yep, I agree.
I like it.
All right, well, let's get into it, Jimbo. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen here. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go through 2 of them. What do you think?
Yeah, and this is I'm going to let you go first, and this is your final opportunity, Jimbo. Your final opportunity to say who are the Ravens drafting at number 27 during our unbelievable live draft party at Union Hill Kitchen and Craft Beer with the one and only Ing Raven, and, of course, us here at 410 Sports Talk there as well. Let me put the screen up here, Jimbo. Let me present it. And this is your chance to have bragging rights for an entire year, like you've already been flexing on me about how you picked Zay. This is your chance to do it again. And let's see if you wilt under the pressure or if you rise to the occasion. Let me present. I mean, this screen, it's so slow, Jimbo. Unbelievable. MacBook, get it together. All right, so here we go. Round 1. I'm going to enter the draft, Jimbo, and I'm going to help because I know you're driving.
Yep.
I'm going to talk. I'm going to tell you who you have at your disposal. All right, so here we go. Ashton Genty goes 2. Ooh, that would be spicy.
That would be spicy.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Look at that. Okay, we have some difference. No way. That tight end is still on the board, Jimbo. Anyway.
Warren is still on the board?
He's still on the board. So is James Pierce Jr., Gray Zabel.
Where's my guy?
Oh, do I need to say any other names other than Tyler Booker?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I mean, if there's anybody miraculous that somehow has fallen, then I would like to know. But I just don't want to mess around here.
The biggest drop on this board is Walter Nolan. He's interior D lineman out of Mississippi. He was the 7th rated player on their board, and he's now sitting at 27. Does that change your mind off of Tyler Booker at all?
Gosh dang it. No, it doesn't. Because I just think that there's meat on the bone when it comes to our defensive line position. And I think we can do more in the free agency stuff, later on with vets to patch some holes and things like that than we can on the offensive line. So I'm not going to play around here. I'm going Booker.
You're going interior offensive line. You know what's good about your draft, your mocks this year is that in every single time, Booker was always going to be there.
Yeah. Now, I am worried
you never
about
had to,
what Jason said. Remember in our show, Jason said there's some noise that he might not be there. Oh,
right. If he's not, then are you sticking with the offensive line and maybe what would be your backup plan if in the hypothetical he's not there?
Obviously, yeah. So I guess I would look around at value, right? Like who's the best player available and see if this is truly a position that we think that we're gonna need here. So in this instance, it'd just be hard for me to go D-line because I think we can patch those holes in other ways. But you saw with the Eagles how they dominated. So I would probably go the best defensive lineman available because I think either way at 27, there's a possibility that you get the best interior D lineman or the best guard. And so whoever's there, whoever you like more, it's kind of a pick your poison type situation.
Yeah, I would not be mad at all if they go and shore up the trenches on either side of the ball. If they go defensive lineman, that means they feel one slid to them. If they go offensive lineman, I think that's an area that we should always continue to address, building that wall in front of Lamar Jackson and continuing to kind of boost his confidence behind that line. But
Yep.
at the same time, there's a lot of people that we kind of listen to and we respect their opinions. Where there's not many I respect more than Greg Cosell, and he talked about. I don't know if you guys can. Let me see if I can. There we go. If you guys can hear this. Can you hear that, Jimbo?
Not yet.
Let me see here.
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay. Yeah, I might be having some issues here. But either way, Greg Cosell said he has the best tape. He's a bigger Javon Holland. And it just got me excited to think about the versatility, the multiplicity that they could show and use on defense if they got a guy like Eman Wari. And look, I know a lot of people are saying you don't really need a safety. You got 2 top 8 guys. I understand that, but maybe I just want a position of strength to just go nuclear and just be ridiculous. And I think this would be the guy who would make that happen. I just imagine 2 Kyle Hamiltons on the same team, guys.
Is this like Captain America when he picks up the hammer?
Yes, exactly.
He's already Captain America. Now he's got a dang hammer.
Like, I know that this might be a bit overkill, but I would absolutely love. Now, this, of course, is operating on the assumption that Malachi Starks is gone, which he's been gone in pretty much every single mock I've performed. So I haven't even had the opportunity to have that tough of a decision. And I like Xavier Watts. I like Kevin Winston Jr. You might be able to get those guys in the second, which could change their strategy. But I would go Nick Eman Wari. So basically, again, it looks like what we're doing is Lamar Jackson's going to have his new, next 10 to 15 year interior offensive lineman and blocker in Tyler Booker. If we're doing Jimmy's draft, and right now, look who went 28 right after. Eman Wari went 28 right after I took Tyler Booker for you. They go get him. Imagine, I think that was the Lions. Imagine the Lions putting Eman Wari next to who's the safety they got out of Bama last year? Branch. Woo!
Yeah.
That would be something. Now, look, Jimbo, we're not going to get a good grade, either one of us, because PFF hates on both of these guys. But I think we would both leave the bar feeling pretty good if either one of those guys were the result. However, let's run this back and say both those guys are gone, because both those guys have, especially Eman Wari after the combine, he got top 15 buzz. And with Cosell talking about him the way he is, I don't think it's crazy to think he's going to be gone by 27. And Booker is getting a ton of buzz as of late, and he could be gone. Jesus, let me cut some of this stuff out, because this is really slowing down my computer here.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. All right, so let's run this back. We know we're going to get bad grades, so we're not even going to wait for it to be drafted or graded. Then let's just see. Let's operate under the hypothetical that both those guys are gone, so we don't have the opportunity to take Booker or to take. My gosh, this computer, guys. I'm so sorry. It's going so slow. Do you see this?
Yeah,
Jimbo, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Don't crash on me.
No, I'm just looking for a parking spot.
Oh, you're home?
Yep.
Jimbo making fantastic time.
I think I got. I'm not gonna. My wife might be watching the show, but I think I got a flash camera.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy's a bit of a speeder.
It's not on purpose. Trust me,
He's just always in a hurry. You're just always in a hurry, Jimbo.
This is true.
All right. Last one we're going to do. Both our guys are gone, hypothetically.
Yep.
You can't have Booker. Okay? Look, Tet McMillan goes number 2. Holy.
Wild, dude.
Mykel Williams. I know a lot of people want him. All the guys that everybody wants are usually. Oh! All right, I knew who I'd pick. I'd pick Mike Green.
Wait. I was about to say I would take Green as well. Okay, I'm glad I was gonna have you wait. because I was going to guess. Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with
I'm
you,
not
100%.
clicking on it. But yeah, I mean, are you kidding? This guy would be perfect to put on the edge of our D-line and just let him go after the quarterback. I like younger players. He's 21 and a half. Yeah, I mean, the good thing is he's not a one-dimensional player. He'll get after your quarterback, and he's already good against the run. So
How
he
many
is
of your drafts? Sorry, go ahead.
Zero. Was he available? Zero.
Is this the first one?
The first one. Now,
wild. Maybe it's a sign.
If he's not there, would you consider James Pierce Jr. or look, Matthew Golden is here. Oh my gosh, that guy ran that crazy 40 time.
Oh, right.
Man, this would be tough, Jimbo. If it fell this way, this is tough.
But for real, though, we're running up with Green.
Yeah, for real, we're running up with Green. No questions asked. We would get Mike Green, and we would be so excited about doing so. What do you? What's
Dude,
the chat
I would
thinking?
call him? You know what I would call him? I
What?
would call him the Ninja Turtle because he's green and purple.
Oh my gosh!
You like that?
I like that. I like that he's green and purple. Well, let's see. If we had to, let's say we wanted to go corner, Jimbo, just quickly.
Yeah.
Because I do think a starting corner is going to be essential. I like Amos. I like Hairston.
Is Amos
I took Amos.
He's a bigger guy, right? Is he like 6'3" or something? Amos?
Who?
Amos.
I don't think he's quite that tall. I think he's 6 foot or 6'1". Let me take a look. I could be wrong. Yeah, he's 6'1". Yeah, he's 6'1".
Okay.
But he's an absolute burner at 6'1". Like, so 6'1" is not like small at corner.
Yeah,
That's
no.
actually on the bigger side. Good tackler, enthusiastic at times, but not always. So it certainly has to kind of work on his play aggression as a run supporter. But I still think that the value isn't quite there at corner. Look, Nick Emanwari and Malachi went back to back, by the way, right before this. So I still think I would love to go Mike Green and go get a corner in the second round. I think that's what we would do here.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Where there's more fitting value. I agree.
Yeah, or even safety in the second round in a Makuba or Winston Jr. I mean, I think there's a lot more. I don't necessarily think the Ravens would get value at corner if they were picking there, just based on how every mock has fallen. But of course, these are mocks and not reality, so it could change.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately we have a plan, right? We got to come out of here with two linemen on the offensive side, 1 to 2 on the defensive side. Got to come out here with 2 edges. Got to come out with 2 corners, an inside linebacker, and potentially a safety if it's first round pick. Look at this. We would get an A+ on this one, Jimbo. Great job. Let's
go. But most importantly, Glenn, we got to come out of Thursday night with an awesome event in the books. You guys got to come hang out with us. Check out that stretch and transition. You like that?
I liked it.
But yeah, come hang out with us, and let's hope the Ravens draft the guy I'm dubbing the Ninja Turtle and Mike Green. There's a lot of ways they could go. I'm just proud of my clever wit there. But yeah, come join us, hang out with us. I've said it before. Glenn on camera is fun. Glenn live in person is a whole different experience. So come hang out. A Raven, of course, will be there, and join us for sure. There's no fees, no tickets. Just come hang out. That's all we're asking. Have a good time. The person coming from the furthest will win an award yet to be announced.
There you go. John Jay says he'll be watching on stream. Absolutely. If you can't make it, then watch on stream.
Here.
We'll be live. No breaks, no commercials. Live the whole time.
That's right.
So make sure you guys come out. We'll certainly be we'll be starting things as soon as the first round kicks off, and we'll be going as long as we need to keep you guys up to date. Yes, we'll be streaming too. We'll be doing both online and in person. But thanks you guys for joining us tonight. Can't wait to see all of you either online or in person on Thursday. And we'll talk to you soon.
See you.
See you.